train rotation over Groom appears to have weakened a little bit and then tried to reform maybe 2 miles east of town. You can confirm that better from where you are, but I hope the good news is, and especially based on the Doppler radar velocity product, I'm not seeing a very deep rotation, but more of a gust front situation right now. Do you have a comment on that?
Yeah, I need just a little while to get right there in position, but that could be happening. I see some lowered areas out on the inflow side. I can't really confirm that that's gust front related yet, or scud going up on the inflow, or if we have a meso in there. But I'm getting closer, and it's getting clearer. I am seeing some real whitish streaks in there. What's your hail potential looking like, Kevin?
Yeah, and I'm just looking at a report from the Weather Service. They're trimming the tornado warning a little bit, so that would come closer to Groom, but they're also commenting that they're going to reduce the hail size a little bit, which is good news as this comes across the highway. So I think maybe our suspicion might be right in that we're getting a little bit of a gust front on this out ahead of the main storm, which will help weaken it, which is obviously helpful. But still some heavy rain and some hail about to come across the highway.
Okay, well, I'm getting a little clearer picture now. If you look at the center of my screen there, Kevin, that's the area of interest right there. So I'm getting a real defined base now. You see some lower areas, appendages, if you will. But I'm still about 10 miles further west than I need to really get a good shot. So, like I say, we'll know more and more as the minutes go by and I get a little closer.
Okay, Dave, thanks very much. I'm going to go back in front of the wall for a minute, and we'll get an update from that perspective, and then come. Thank you. And there's Dave's picture. And so I think based on his area of travel, he's verifying what we saw on the radar. That suggests that the bulk of this has now moved south of 40, which is good for the leading edge of this, but that means some hail is coming as well. So let's see if we can get back in touch with Dave. Dave, Kevin checking in again. Can you give us an update?
Yeah, that's right, Kevin. I'm still west of Groom, but getting closer by the minute. There's the area of interest. That's definitely the core, the interface. You see the lowered area. I think we could define that as a wall cloud. I'm not seeing rapid rotation in there. I'm sure getting a better picture of it. And you're right, it's just south of I-40 and east of Groom. So I'm continuing to punch on in there. Every minute I get closer, I get a better look at this. So right now I can confirm that I don't see anything sticking down the ground. I do think I might be picking up kind of a slow rotation. So it's definitely worth watching. And there's a good reason we have a tornado warning on it. Back further to the north there, getting close to I-40, it looks like very heavy rain, and that's probably our hail area right there. So as I get closer to that, I'll give you an update. But got a good picture now of what I think is the area of interest, and starting to get some definition and got some more information. But right now, the news is pretty good that we don't have a tornado on the ground that I can see.
Okay, very good. So confirming on some direction areas then.
Yeah, well, the sign you may not be able to see the visibility, but that's the highway south, 70 south of Clarendon and Howardwood. So that's where I am, 1 mile to that exit. Really hitting the core. I've had small hail so far, maybe some 9 size. Man, the water is really accumulating here, so I'm going to be watching for water crossing and probably some larger hail. I think some hail deposited just kind of on the shoulder of the highway, but it hasn't been really big yet. I know I'm not right in the core, but we're definitely getting there quickly. So I'll be turning south here momentarily, Kevin, right down Highway 70. Can you give me a little guidance on what I'm running into?
Yes, sir, sure can. The hail core continues to sort of jump around, but the heaviest now is southwest of the 70-40 intersection. So if you're just now coming up on the intersection, where we can see you're coming up on the exit there, we saw the road sign go by. So the heaviest hail core, as you start to move south on 70, is going to be to your right or just to the west of you. And this thing has picked up in forward speed clearly,
Okay.
so you may actually get a little bit of a break from any small hail and start to get a little bit of an easing on the heavy rain. But that heavy hail core is just on the west side of 70, south of 40, and probably about 5 to 6 miles now north of Howardwick and heading south, Dave.
Okay, so I've made the turn south from I-41 Highway 70. The hail is starting to pick up. I'm having trouble seeing right now. Visibility is really, really low. Torrential rainfall, and it's really, really building up in the farm fields out here. So that's going to be an issue in itself, is just the amount of water here. Okay, here comes our south turn, actually. Okay, so this is Highway 70. Hey, Kevin, I'm about 5 miles north of Howardwood, so I'm just on the edge of that big hail core. I've had quarter-sized hail bouncing around. You can hear some of the stones hitting, but I haven't had the really, really big stuff yet. I am getting far enough south that I can kind of get some definition on the base now. So you kind of see the leading edge over there. That's pretty much around Howardwood. So I'm glad I can finally see what's going on here, but I don't really see a strong rotation. You got that little fingery kind of scalloped edge on the leading edge, but not a real tight wall cloud that's rotating or anything.
Yep, that would verify with what we got on radar right now. There's definitely a pendant on that, and there's definitely a really good inflow notch, but it's not really showing too well on velocity. There is definitely some weak rotation, which as you have said or described that you're seeing, but not tightening at this point. But again, nope, that's a pretty good lowering. Tough to see through the rain, but that is certainly something that should make people pay attention. Go ahead and tell us what you're seeing, Dave.
Kevin, real quick. Dave's audio is unusable right now on the stream. He can talk to you. You can feed that information back. It's just really bad.
Say that again.
Dave's audio is unusable. It's just so in and out, choppy, bad. So the way we'll have to do it is he'll refer information back to you.
Well, let's just leave it on there. Who cares? One more time, Dave. Put it back on. I'll deal with it.
So this is just back to the northwest of Howardwood. Moving south, ton of hail in there. I think I managed to skate by without getting into the really big stuff.
Can you sense rotation?
But it's headed towards Howardwood. And, you know, there may be a little bit of a slow rotation in there, Kevin. I'm going to get up here and get a vantage point, pull off, and really be able to watch this.
Okay, just for location then, Dave is now, or the rotation area, that lowering is just west of Howardwick. So in Howardwick, that's good news in that it is appearing not to go right over town. It is west of Highway 70. The new velocity product that just came in is now showing that it may be tightening a little bit. And we see Dave's picture coming in and out, but it is definitely, that new velocity product is weak, but we definitely have some gate-to-gate shear. So Dave's going to try and get a better look at that. But in Howardwick, we want you to know, number one, that that rotation area, that lowering area is just west of town, but it may be strengthening a little bit. And so from there, we want to turn our attention to Clarendon, as that storm would be, well, let me do a little, we'll do a little measurement here. And get a distance check from Clarendon. So we're now 5 miles north of Clarendon. And so no tornado warning currently, but in Clarendon, you are not getting any rain right now, but there is a severe thunderstorm with the potential for golf ball size hail moving in your direction from the north. So let's go ahead and start to get prepped in Clarendon to move to your safe space if you need. Can you hear me? Yeah.
His mic's on.
Dave, we can see you. Tell us what you got. Okay, we've been having some audio difficulties. Dave's out in, in the middle of nowhere.
The picture was frozen.
Yeah, he's got a choppy cell signal, but he's obviously getting us a good picture right now. He has been moving south on 70 around Howardwick, and he's got a pretty good eyeball on that thing that is west of town. I'll check with him again. Oh, this may have gotten changed. Dave, it's Kevin. Can you hear me? Okay, well, what we're watching is Doppler Dave Oliver is near Howardwick, heading south on 70, looking at a tornado-warned storm, but we don't see a funnel. We see some what we call ragged scud clouds right now, but no well-defined rotating lowering. So no indication of a funnel, no dust cloud on the ground, but the Weather Service has seen fit, because of this rotation signature, to issue a tornado warning, and that will be until 8:30 for Donnelly County. I'm going to go ahead and check on the Weather Service chat, chat, see if we have any new information that I can share with you there. Nope, just the reissuance of the tornado warning. So Dave's got a pretty good picture of it. I believe that he is just south of Howardwick right now. And so once again, we want to turn our attention to Clarendon. You are not under immediate threat, but the tornado warning polygon goes right to the north edge or right to the edge of town. So your phone may or may not be going off. If you know some friends that may not be watching television or watching the streams, go ahead in Clarendon and let them know. If you're in town, let your neighbors know. If you know somebody who lives there, go ahead and let them know, because this is a tornado warning situation, again, for about another 20 minutes until 8:30. We'll check in with Dave again, see if we have audio from him. Dave, can you hear us? You can sit, Andy, and take this. We're going to go back to radar here in just a second.
Yeah, I mean, everything's the way it should be. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's okay. He's got some spotty signal.
Yeah.
But that is all looking fairly ragged as opposed to well-defined. In order to have a tornado, you would want to see well-defined. But this is rotating in the higher levels of the storm, but not so much at the surface. And I'm checking the velocity product right now. We had a little bit of a peak in rotation just south of town, right where Dave is. He's probably a mile or two, if that, away from it. But now the velocity signature has weakened a little bit. The inflow notch continues. But let's go ahead and go to max radar. And let me point out a few things since we're letting people know. Again, Clarendon. Tornado polygon goes right into...
Drop off to the east a little bit, get a little better picture. But I understand the tornado warning still intact. I'm still not seeing a tornado, though.
Okay, Dave, thanks. Yeah, the rotation signature has really changed from rotation to more gust front looking, which is obviously what you are looking at. But again, the good news, since I know you're trying to drive and shoot and report at the same time, good news is the rotation signature has really weakened. We're still about 7 to 8 minutes away from the end of this tornado warning, But at this moment, based on the current products, I don't see where the Weather Service would extend that. But we'll hope for Claritin's sake that we don't get some new rotation development there, and of course watching that as well. But we're watching your stream. You've got some heavy rain and those SLC clouds, those scary looking clouds off in the distance. And that's what you're keeping an eye on to see if any of those want to tighten up and rotate as opposed to just hanging there. Where are you now? Are you all the way to Claritin?
Yeah, I'm in Clarendon.
If you want to give us another report, I can keep talking, or you let us know what you're seeing.
Yeah. I've got sirens going off. I'm not sure if it's I'm out of the freeze suit. Yeah, just kind of standard leading edge, kind of ragged clouds, Kevin.
10-4, and I'll narrate what we're seeing a little bit while you continue to get east of town. We mentioned these gust fronts that you'll see, and that's sort of this low hanging, almost arced or rolling cloud, sometimes referred to as a shelf cloud, and that has apparently moved past Dave. And so what Dave is trying to do is go to the east and get out from under it so that he can look back and get a little bit clearer view that doesn't include the buildings of downtown Clarendon, but also kind of see that leading edge of there. And sometimes you can get little spin-ups. They're called gustnados. They generally don't last very long. They're extremely hard to warn for, but you can get a little spin-up rotation or a funnel that would come in contact with the ground and become...
Kevin, all the way back, coming through Clarendon now. That's back in here. So the rain is really going to pick up. The hail is going to pick up. This is about 3-4 miles east of Clarendon, just north of Highway 287, and that's got outflow written all over it. You mentioned the storm that's over by Headley. That's what I'm showing you now. Lightning has really picked up on that. Do you have a preference, Kevin? Would you like for me to go after the Headley storm, or stay on this one, or what would you like?
Well, I think maybe if you want to jump out a little bit further ahead of that one, you'll get some good pictures, and next chance you have to turn around again, you can kind of see how it's doing. Just so you know, we've hit 8:30 in Unity, right? Yeah. Dave, we'd lost your signal for a while. If you could
okay,
give us,
Kevin,
check out where you are, what you're seeing.
Yeah, sure. I made it just almost Headley. I'm turning back now. I'm going to lose that storm down by Memphis in the darkness, I think, and I don't really want to tackle the hail and stuff in the dark. So I'm going to backtrack, come back through Clarendon. I'll be able to hit that line, and then probably the Amarillo stuff by the time I'm getting back. So I'll just kind of hit some of these storms on my way back to town, let you know what's happening. So the one you see ahead of me right now, pretty much right over Clarendon. And I'm going to punch through that, see what it's doing, and then continue back towards Amarillo.
So he's heading back toward Clarendon, did he say? Okay. So Dave's going to go back, and that storm, that cell that he's approaching there is weakening downpours, which will cause runoff problems. Dave, if you can still hear us, you got a pretty good picture now.
Yeah, this is at Lilia Lake, Kevin. And I'm not sure if you heard my earlier communication. I decided I'm going to lose that storm down at Memphis in the darkness, I think, and don't really want to tangle with all the hail and stuff driving by myself. And I thought we might come back and punch some of these storms between there and Amarillo and at least let you know what's happening in those.
10, Dave, thanks. We appreciate that. Obviously, Dave and we want to stay safe. Always our goal is to get out ahead of them because that's where you see the most interesting pictures and have the better chance of seeing any kind of rotation, any kind of a gustnado that might come, any kind of a shelf cloud. But Dave would have had to drive through some extremely heavy rain and dangerous hail to try and get to that to Memphis, which we obviously do not. We do not advise that. So in Memphis again, approaching strong thunderstorm, a severe warn thunderstorm. Not showing any rotation signatures at this moment in time. Yeah, we can go ahead and do that. I want to look at there. We should mention that for Clarendon, the heavy rain and the hail has now moved east of town. It is still a severe warned storm, but it is moving eastward, southeastward along 287 toward Headley. We want to mention Memphis again. I'll come back to the radar in just a second. But as Dave has been reporting, we've got some trees and some branches, certainly a lot of leaves down on the highway 287. And law enforcement is not allowing folks to travel east beyond Clarendon due to some potential damage there. Doubtful that it was tornadic damage, but it doesn't matter at that point. Damage is damage, and so it has done enough that it has impacted the roadway 287 there.